my arm hurts me very much, and also all my fingers. It's very painful. Hurts me because the chikungunya.
The chikungunya virus causes fever, rashes, and severe joint pain that can last for months or even years. It is seldom fatal, but it is a serious risk to the elderly, and there is no vaccine or cure. Originating in East Africa, chikungunya began spreading in the 1960s, transmitted to people by mosquitoes. Travelers first carried it to India and Southeast Asia, then to the rest of Africa. Crossing the Atlantic to South America, in 2013, the virus reached the Caribbean, where it is now advancing into the United States. On islands like Grenada, chikungunya is now a common disease.
From St. George's, Grenada, this is the latest breaking news story.
Chikungunya arrived in Grenada through people who got infected elsewhere and visited Grenada, and then the local mosquito population became infected. Aedes aegypti is the vector. Aedes has evolved to live with humans. It breeds in the habitats that humans create, lays its eggs in flower pot saucers with water in it. And in most of the world, we have water insecurity problems, so we store water in containers. And the mosquito breeds in all these sites. You can produce about 100 Aedes mosquitoes out of an eggshell. It gets rainwater in it. 100 mosquitoes a week can come out of that. As the human population grows, so does the Aedes population. They prefer to take human blood meals. They live indoors, hide in dark areas in the house. They're very lazy flyers. They're very good vectors because they're day biters, and this makes them incredibly nervous feeders.
We are basically 12 degrees north, 61 degrees west on the map. We're very much a tropical island. We're not too far away from South America. I'm Justin Hector, and I'm a vector control supervisor here in Grenada. With the rains we've been having, we have water settling in areas and stuff. And we're basically in an area that is, the humidity at times pretty high, lots of sunlight, and also lots of rain at times. What we've seen, though, in recent time is that we've had some changes in rainfall patterns. There were a time when we had what was a rainy season and a dry season. Now, we basically get almost equal exchange of sun and rain. The conditions have become more conducive to mosquitoes breeding. So we found some mosquito larvae here, right in the corner there, see? So we got larvae there and we got pupae. When I first heard about chikungunya, that was before I had it. It was sort of funny to me because they said to me, man, you wouldn't want to have chikungunya. If you do, you will feel like you were hit by a truck. It's that bad, you know, it makes you feel that bad. When the onset came on, I felt like my wrist started hurting. I couldn't determine what may have caused that. By the end of the evening, I was down with a fever, basically couldn't walk. It's probably the worst feeling that I personally have had.
It was real painful, especially at the ankles and the fingers. I couldn't walk, I walked with stick.
At midnight, I got up to go to the loo and discovered I could not walk.
My heel was hurting me and all my foot was swollen.
It was not a nice feeling at all because even though you lie down, your body still aches and oh, it was very terrible for me. You want to come?
This sends a message to us here in Grenada because it can have some debilitating effects on our population. My name is Kenny James, and I am the Senior Environmental Health Officer with responsibility for vector control. You walk through the street, and I can see probably 6 out of 10 persons that you may find on the street would told you that they have suffered from chikungunya. It affected our economy. A lot of persons were at home. Persons could not attend to little routine things that they normally do, and it did affect our country. Fogging is one of the ways in which we control the adult mosquitoes. It's an expensive venture. The chemical that we use presently is permethrin. We also use malathion. It is used as a fumigant. We try to tell the Grenadian public that fogging is not the panacea to the mosquito problem here in Grenada. The ultimate thing is to get rid of the breeding sites. If you get rid of the breeding site, it means that you have no need to fog. And the fogging would only attend to the adult mosquito that is flying around and that the fog comes in contact with. If the fog doesn't come in contact with the mosquito, it would not kill it. We can fog today, and tomorrow we have a mosquito problem. Because just so a child is born every day, just so mosquito emerges every day. And the fog will only get in contact with the mosquitoes that are flying around. Because the fog does not linger around for any length of time. As the wind goes, it goes with the fog. So any mosquito that emerges after would not come in contact with the fog.
I'm not too sure if I could inhale it with the baby because I'm pregnant. It's all right. Keep away the mosquito. Too much mosquito. People die around here. The mosquito is very plentiful.
It is always important to revisit the area to see if there is any improvement in terms of the reduction of the mosquito population. Because that's the way we can ensure whether or not what we are doing is effective. Because mosquitoes like dark places. They feel sheltered. But tires by nature is very attractive to the Aedes aegypti mosquito. They also have the capability and ability to hold water. And this is one of the requirements for the breeding of mosquitoes. The possibility of breeding is extremely high here. One of the biggest challenges we have with tire shop is that of the storage of used tires. Many times you have them keeping the tires outside. So here, I have spoken to the tire operator just a while ago, and he said that he's constructing this area here so that he can store his tires. The tire dealers, particularly used tires, are stored out in the direct weather out there. So what we are saying to them, that you are responsible for the proper storage of a tire to ensure that it does not breed any mosquitoes. Mosquito control is not the sole responsibility of the Ministry of Health. It has to be a collective effort involving everyone. Prior to chikungunya, we were telling people that they need to clean up their premises. And there were many instances we go out there and they were not doing anything. We even had to try to invoke a law that we have there since 1952. Persons who have any breeding on the premises, they are liable. And there was a fine of $250. We have issued a number of notices. So this is one way of getting the public to know that they are also responsibility and it's an offense.
There are a lot of water in that boat. We were looking for mosquito breeding sites, and we encountered that boat there. There were water holding in that boat. It was elevated from the ground, and there's a lot of mosquito breeding in here. If you can get the camera close. And there were a lot of Aedes aegypti mosquitoes breeding heavily, for that matter. We needed to get rid of that breeding site. We found a lot of mosquito breeding in the boat. So the boat basically is a source of breeding. And so you have to operate first as individual and as community.
You just pass around and distribute it.
But no, for you do not have to. What I'm saying, whenever we find Aedes aegypti mosquito in a compound, no negotiation. We do fogging to kill the adult mosquitoes. The fogging is to knock down, is to kill the mosquitoes that are flying around. These are the adult mosquitoes. This notice that on the provision of the Mosquito Destruction Act of Grenada 1952, you issued a notice informing you that, yes, we found an Aedes aegypti mosquito on your compound, and you were given 7 days. After 7 days, if you did not comply, you will be taken to court and you'll have to pay a fine.
My name is Randolph Campbell, better known as Scotty. I got the chikungunya. My knees, my toes, my arm, my joints, everywhere just hot. I believe this is a plague because mosquito cannot bite everybody like that.
In Grenada here, we had some misconception because the spread was so rapid that persons felt it was airborne.
Personally, that is not only the mosquito do not cause the chikungunya. I think that we have something else, but helping to carry the chikungunya.
They thought it was something man-made, something that was just let loose in the air.
This is a virus that was made in a lab. And they have already put the viruses in what we eat. These diseases have in lab for years, experimenting on them.
Probably the craziest thing I heard is probably that the chikungunya is a thing of for black people.
Mosquito is responsible for the transmission of the virus and not anything else that you think, whether it's conspiracy theory, whatever it is.
When we had that coming of chikungunya into the region here, we sat as a team and we come up with ideas because we want to send a message that the public will grab onto.
From St. George's, Grenada, this is the latest breaking news story.
Lessen the mosquito population today. Keep dengue and the chikungunya at bay.
Everyone needs to hear the message. Newspapers for the people who read. TV for the people who do not read and prefer to watch TV. Social network, Facebook, the Ministry of Health websites for the person who are, let me say, technologically inclined. Everyone needs to hear the message.
The older population and those that have pre-existing arthritis type problems are at greatest risk. Research has shown that if you can get a handle on the epidemic very early on, if you can control the Aedes mosquitoes from biting people, you can reduce the number of people that get infected and therefore reduce your costs for diagnosis, the days lost from work, and the long-term morbidity associated with chikungunya. Evidence have shown that it has the ability to re-emerge. It's probably going to remain now in the Western Hemisphere like it does in the rest of the world. There are now 76 countries in the tropics and subtropics that have chikungunya, and there's been a large number of imported cases into the US in the last few years.
If it were to spread to the U.S., then surely the American public would go into, I think, a panic mode.
As the human population expands, they're going into new habitats and getting exposed to new arboviruses. The incubation period for chicks, the minimum is 2 days, and there's nowhere on the planet now that is less than 24 hours away from somewhere else. So you can travel asymptomatically to another part of the world.